Isaac, the son of Abraham and Sarah, was born when his parents were advanced in age, fulfilling God's promise to Abraham that he would be the father of many nations. His birth is a significant event in the Abrahamic faiths, particularly in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Isaac's story is chronicled in the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis. As Isaac grew, his life became intertwined with a profound test of faith. God commanded Abraham to sacrifice Isaac as a burnt offering on Mount Moriah. This test, found in Genesis 22, is known as the Akedah, or the binding of Isaac. Abraham, although deeply distressed, obeyed God's command without hesitation, preparing to offer his son. Isaac, while unaware of his father's intentions, carried the wood for the sacrifice, possibly symbolizing his own willingness to submit to God's will. When they reached the designated spot, Abraham prepared the altar and bound Isaac. Just as Abraham raised the knife to sacrifice Isaac, an angel of the Lord intervened, stopping him. God provided a ram caught in a thicket, which Abraham then sacrificed in Isaac's place. The event concluded with a divine promise reaffirmed to Abraham: his descendants would become numerous and possess the land of Canaan. The binding of Isaac holds deep theological significance. For Abraham, it was the ultimate test of obedience and trust in God, demonstrating that true faith requires complete surrender, even when the command seems incomprehensible. Isaac, though passive in the narrative, also embodies submission to God's will, making him an important figure in the tradition of faith. In Christian theology, the story of Isaac's near sacrifice is often seen as a foreshadowing of God's own sacrifice of his son, Jesus Christ, drawing parallels between Isaac's submission and Christ's willingness to accept God's will for his crucifixion. In Judaism, Isaac's near sacrifice is viewed as a pivotal moment in the relationship between God and the Jewish people, symbolizing the enduring covenant. Ultimately, Isaac's birth and the near sacrifice highlight themes of faith, obedience, and divine provision. These events continue to shape religious thought and practice, serving as a profound testament to the complexities of human devotion and God's grace. Isaac's life after the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, is relatively quiet compared to the dramatic events surrounding his near sacrifice, but it still holds significant meaning in biblical history. After the dramatic episode on Mount Moriah, Isaac continued his life as the son of Abraham, living out the promises God had made to his father regarding his descendants. One of the first events after the Akedah is Isaac's marriage to Rebekah. Abraham, now advanced in age, sent his servant to find a wife for Isaac from his homeland in Mesopotamia. Rebekah, a woman of kindness and hospitality, was chosen, and she agreed to marry Isaac without hesitation, embodying the faith that her husband had in God. Their union produced two sons, Esau and Jacob, who would later become the patriarchs of the Edomites and Israelites, respectively. Isaac's life is also marked by times of conflict and faith. A famine drove Isaac to Gerar, where he repeated his father Abraham's earlier actions by claiming Rebekah was his sister rather than his wife, out of fear for his life. However, God protected Isaac, revealing the truth to the king of Gerar, Abimelech, who rebuked Isaac for his deception. This event shows Isaac's dependence on God's protection in times of crisis, though it also highlights his human flaws, as he resorted to deception, much like his father. Isaac's most significant contribution to the continuation of God's covenant was his role in passing the blessing to his son Jacob. Although Isaac intended to bless Esau, Jacob, with the help of his mother Rebekah, deceived Isaac into giving him the blessing meant for the firstborn. This event was pivotal in the biblical narrative, as it set the stage for the continuation of God's promise to Abraham through Jacob, who would later be named Israel and father the 12 tribes of Israel. In his later years, Isaac experienced physical decline and blindness, and he was ultimately reconciled with his sons. Isaac's life is remembered as a symbol of God's faithfulness in fulfilling promises, the challenges of familial dynamics, and the ways God worked through imperfect human lives to fulfill his divine plan.